People commonly say that Israel is the United States' greatest ally. It would be easier to make the case that Israel is America's greatest enemy. People are talking about the USS Liberty again, and while this has been talked to death, Sean Ryan had a former Marine Corps pilot, Michael T. Lester, on his show. They talked about how this was attacked, and people were aghast. They're going all in to defend it, saying that Israel actually paid us back. It was completely an accident. It was not a mistake. The National Security Agency recorded radio transmissions where the pilots of Israeli jets clearly identified far in advance that it was an American flagged ship up to 1 hour before they torpedoed the vessel, killing American sailors, and they could identify Latin alphabet on the side of the ship. They then jammed radio communications and shot the lifeboats. The Secretary of State at the time said it wasn't a mistake. The NSA said it wasn't a mistake. The Department of Defense and a variety of officials said it really wasn't a mistake. But the FBI and Lyndon Baines Johnson said it was accidental, and they buried the story. Just 4 years before that, there was the Battle of the Letters with David Ben-Gurion and John F. Kennedy, where Israel would not allow the United States to oversee their nuclear program after they stole nuclear material from the United States and nuclear secrets and sold it to China. And the United States told them, "We have to oversee your nuclear program." And David Ben-Gurion resigned, and Levi Eshkol took control in June of 1963. And in November of 1963, JFK was assassinated. In 1953, there was the Levon affair, codenamed Operation Susanna, where the Mossad and Mossad collaborators, known as the Sayanim, meaning helper in Hebrew, this is any Jew who works with Jewish intelligence, planned to attack and kill Americans and attack British bases to draw them into a war in the Middle East. In 1947, multiple mail bombs were sent to President Truman because he opposed Jewish behavior privately and publicly. This made him support the creation of Israel. In 1973, Golda Meir called President Richard Nixon and forced him to enact Operation Nickel Grass, where the United States airlifted 22,350 tons of military supplies to Israel, the largest airlift in human history, because they were threatening to use nuclear bombs on Syria and Egypt. In 1990 and 1991, George Bush Sr. was helping Soviet Jews, and then 1,000 Jewish lobbyists were pressing on George Bush Sr. so that he would guarantee a $10 billion loan to Israel and also additional military aid to Israel, and put additional pressure on Iraq. President Bush and Yitzhak Shamir helped engineer the conflict with Iraq and the deployment of U.S. troops to Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. Abraham Foxman, the Anti-Defamation League's national director, said, "When you add up the Jews that George Bush saved, he will be a great Sazik," using the Hebrew word for righteous man. In 2001, a few Israelis were a part of a Urban Moving Systems filming crew, and they were arrested in September. In 2002, as a private citizen, Benjamin Netanyahu testified to U.S. Congress that overthrowing Saddam would have enormous positive repercussions on the region, as noted by C-SPAN. Before the invasion in 2003, it was Israel that provided the weapons of mass destruction data.